What's good, everybody? Alright, so I'm going to do a quick video on the history of the ketogenic diet, just for y'all's frame of reference and context, give you some history of it, so you can kind of know where it came from. Alright, so first of all, basically you can be in ketosis through fasting. There's therapeutic fasting, which depletes your body of all your glucose and your blood sugar and glycogen. So in doing so, your body switches over to ketosis as a fuel source. So arguably, you can be in ketosis through fasting, which happened basically since the beginning of humanity. So technically, ketosis has been around since we've been around. During the prehistoric times, Ice Age times, cavemen times, they weren't farming, so they weren't getting crops, which an abundance of carbohydrates is found in most commercial farming and subsistence farming, so they weren't getting those. So the bulk of their diet consisted of food that they hunted from animals, so animal fats, animal proteins, and then whatever they could gather through, just going walking around the woods and seeing if they could find a tuber or a vegetable of some type. It was much colder back then, so there wasn't an abundance of, there was not an abundance of fruits, unless they were living on the equator. So most of their diet was consisting of animal fats, animal proteins, and then whatever they could find. So pretty ketogenic-like diet. The Inuit Indians, living along the colder poles, like the north and southern poles, they were living off of a lot of whale and seal blubber, which is fat. So again, very high-fat diet. So it could be argued that our earlier ancestors and Inuit Indians, they were all on a ketogenic type diet. Not necessarily voluntarily, but that's just what they had available. Going forward in the time, we have the 1920s, where the ketogenic diet was used to treat epileptic seizures in children, before the advent of anticonvulsive drugs. So, and it's still used today to treat epileptic seizures for drug-resistant individuals. So, used in the 1900s for medical purposes, used before that for just readily available foods, and then that brings us to today's time, where it's used in athletics, and it's also continued to be used for, like I said, epileptic seizures in children especially, and now it's used for, like I said, athletics, performance athletes, people wanting to lose body fat rapidly through fat oxidation by burning fat for fuel. So, quick timeline of the keto diet. Basically, since the dawn of humanity, when people were fasting, not very voluntarily necessarily, but just because they didn't have food readily available. Prehistoric times, where there was not a lot of carbohydrate-based foods to consume anyways, and their diet had to be highly fat-based. 1900s, early 1900s, 1920s, when it was used to treat epileptic seizures, and then modern day time now, where it's used in athletics, continues to be used for the epileptic seizures, and a lot of science is coming out now that shows that it could be used as a preventative measure for cancer. So, used since beginning of time, beginning of humanity until now. So, a lot of science coming out, a lot of good stuff coming. That's just a quick rundown of the history of the diet. So we await more science to see how it can be used going forward. But thanks again for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. New videos every week.